David versus, well, maybe a Goliath versus a smaller Goliath, a notably smaller Goliath here, but Chronic's got the tools. Diaz has the firepower, folks. Only one spot in the finals from this side of the bracket. It's Diaz versus Chronic to make it to the grades.
It's time to find out if Diaz can do it on Championship Sunday. He's been struggling all season today in the 3v3 portion of RLCS, but this is his game mode. This is his tournament. Chronic in his way. It's not going to be easy, but he's starting strong with a kickoff win.
Yeah, Diaz is almost like a leveled up version of Chronic. I watched Chronic come up in his 1v1 heyday. He loved himself a good wall to air dribble. He'd do him from the side wall, and he would read defenders to the next level. Diaz has mirrored that, and he's took it even farther. He's taking it all the way to the back wall when he needs to. But the first air dribble from Diaz is going to get intercepted by Chronic, and Diaz is hanging around low on boost, trying to make it like an awkward setup for Chronic, who does not want to go off the side wall. He's going to go to the ground, and Diaz will come steal it away.
You know, one of the underrated aspects of Diaz's game, we can all see the aerial mechanics, we can all see the efficiency. You know, that's the easy aspect of this game to spot, but the amount of possession he's able to create, the amount of territory he's able to gain in these matchups, he does that by challenging effortlessly. He just takes the ball from his opponent, and then it's much harder for them to get it back off of it.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about how it feels like Diaz has been in free play against his previous matchups, and that's what I'm talking about, because he's just moving around the map with such ease. It feels like you can almost tell that he's not worried about anything. You have the ball, I'll flip towards it, I'll take it away. I have the ball, I'll take it up the side wall, I'll launch it towards the net, and he's got the first goal.
That's a crisp wall shot to kick things off, and you know, it might sound like not that big of a deal, but one of the key things to trying to see if somebody's feeling good mechanically on any given day is the power shooting. We saw it from First Killer earlier. The power shots were looking good. He wins the series. Diaz starts this off with a very nice power shot from distance. So I think the mechanics are on Fear. We'll see if he can bring that to the air as well.
Yeah, you need to have the mechanics. Nobody's had the flicks. Diaz has speed. He's not going to barely get this angle. But Chronic's not out of the woods. It's still a tough challenge. Man, Diaz, the placement. Okay. The mechanics are looking good.
Yeah, the confidence is there to even go for this shot with Chronic in the net. And yeah, the power shots are looking very nice right now. That's a great shot. Top shelf, accuracy on point. All time. Chronic's only ever beaten Diaz one time. They've played one series. Diaz has beaten him 6 times. I think that does come down to largely what you mentioned. Diaz is just a better version of Chronic's 1v1 style. He's more efficient, he's more dominant, and right now he just looks so confident.
I can't believe that we have seen no nerves, nothing from him. I know he's been playing with complexity on the mainstream. He's played in big games. Oh my goodness, he's so far ahead. I mean, this guy, he looks like he's another rank above.
Chronic trying to get something going his way with a kickoff, but he's completely messed it up. Left a gap between himself and the ball, and Diaz just chips it right past him. You can see that Chronic wasn't arriving fast enough. He's all over him. Chronic's yet to get a shot. Diaz has 6 to his name. 4 of them are goals. It's a continuation of yesterday's strong performance.
Just the ease of movement from Diaz. Every single touch seems like he got fortunate. Like, oh, it's so nice that it bounced there and just went into your control. But when he does it every single time, you know he's completely the one who's making it happen. As he tries to go for a goal line 50, that doesn't bother him. Back to the side wall. He'll attack again. He reads Chronic going high, so he just pushes it hard forward.
He is just clinical right now. This is brutal to watch. Chronic expects the air dribble because he's up against Diaz, but Diaz saw the ceiling challenge coming and just shoots it on target. And you know, Chronic's not really trolling there. That's a great play against Diaz off the wall air dribble to go up off that ceiling for the challenge. But you've got to wait just a split second longer, or else he's going to take you out with another play. Chronic spawning, doesn't matter. Oh, he's just no one goal, but there's not much he can do. 6-0, 10 shots to Diaz, nothing for Chronic. This is as one way as you get.
Yeah, Diaz, I can't believe it. We keep thinking, you know, eventually someone's going to put up a fight against him, but there's definitely no fight yet. Chronic hasn't put one on the board. Chronic is the kind of guy who is willing to leave games early when he thinks they're out of reach, but he's got over half the game left, and he still hasn't scored yet, though. It's not often in 1v1 ever that you hold somebody completely scoreless. I mean, there's just so many goals. You end up finding one here or there, but man, every single touch works for Diaz.
Oh, and Chronic even got the slightest piece of this one, but it's still not enough. He must have just rolled barely around the ball here. Yeah, just couldn't quite get it, and that's another painful one to concede. He's going to stick in this and just try and figure out something that works. I mean, if he's not going to win this game, he at least wants to get a shot on target. There we go. Surely that registers. One shot to Chronic. He's on the board.
I can't believe it. I mean, I've been watching the game, but you're right. That is the first shot. Chronic has some offense going. A little reset denied.
Two.
By Diaz.
Two shots.
Doubled up his shots.
Oh, Diaz missed.
Oh, and no follow-up either. A rare miss. He's human. Chronic is not moving. Yeah, there it is. He's getting before he gets scored on again. He says, no, pause it faster.
Oh, he's on the air dribble. He's like, I can't even be bothered. I can't be bothered defending whatever this guy's about to do. Let's just go next. And level up. And that's, yeah, easier said than done.
The way I would describe Diaz playing the first game was as if he had a superpower where he could retry every take until he gets the exact perfect play. Like, I'll miss that one, go back in time 5 seconds, and get the exact right one. And every single touch went his way. We'll see if he can keep doing that. Chronic is going to save the first attempt, but the thing about Diaz is he does such a good job of making sure he gets control again and doesn't seem to be bothered by any take that doesn't pan out.
He's just so efficient that he arrives in your half with the ball in the air with so much boost left over, he can just simply recover. And even the very best players in the world struggle to do this. He's just the most efficient player when it comes to the aerial game, in my opinion. If you want to pay attention to one thing about Diaz, look at the first touch. He gets it so close to the ceiling every time, but doesn't hit the ceiling, and that's the key. If it does hit the ceiling, it would be harder to make that full pitch air dribble work.
He is out of position here. Is there a chance?
Oh dear, oh dear.
Got a little bit of a flub touch, so we're not going to find out if he had fully boomed that ball. First killer style, maybe. But Diaz gets Chronic up in the air and then bails out, saving onto that boost. Still has 43 left over, even while he's getting chipped around. Seems like he's not too worried. If he goes to the goal line, Chronic, let's see if he can starve him out and get his first lead, or first goal, right? I think he did end up forfeiting without scoring one. The wave dash is stopped, and Diaz sends it to the midfield.
This is still much better than from Chronic. Double reset looks pretty good there. Into the air he goes again. Diaz is pre-jumping him, trying to match the height on the approach. He does so. And this is a lot more defense than Diaz had to do in the last game. So Chronic's at least managed to get into the midfield. Small victory, but compared to a 7-0, it's huge. And now he's up by 1. So, you know, we asked him to make a massive turnaround. It starts with those small things where you can start to defend against Diaz, start to run his boost dry a little bit. And Diaz with a bit of a head scratch there, maybe. Confused as to why he's not winning by 6.
I don't understand. It doesn't normally take me this long in order to get 6 goals. But Diaz is just going to boom this one. This is a big mix-up from what he normally likes to do. He loves the high air dribbles every time. So maybe trying to catch Chronic off guard. But he's got him around the net for an air dribble, and he did not protect it all. Chronic's looking at an open net.
Yeah, not enough time there for Diaz to get under the ball, get the reset, and then right his car again. He's landed really awkwardly. And Chronic's up by 2, so that's a big mistake by Diaz. I do like that he's tried to go for some long shots just to keep Chronic from pre-jumping everything, but he's not made the air dribbles count when they have come around.
Diaz has to get some offense going. Surely we don't see an 8-0 game the other way. He has to get a goal here the way he's been playing. He gets forced to his back wall. Awkward for some. The sweet spot for him as he chips this one off. Only going to get one more touch. It's a reset. It's a fake, and it's on the board.
And it's all Diaz once again with the aerial game. Just look at the efficiency. I mean, he's arriving with 30. It's the standard stuff. Every time he does a full pitch air dribble, he still has 30 boost left over. It just gives him so much flexibility. Does he full commit? Does he just let the ball go towards the opponent slowly and recover? Well, that's up to him to decide, and he often makes the right choice.
Chronic tapping this one to the backboard as Diaz, such a great reverse half flip there in order to land perfectly aimed at the net.
Wow.
And he'll use that position to follow up for a second goal.
Yeah, that's such a nice flip cancel by Diaz. Just gets the center ball just that little bit earlier, but you can see how much of a difference it makes. If he didn't center that ball to himself, when he did, if he waited another split second, Chronic's there. Chronic's able to get a clear ball. Diaz is right back in it. We knew he was going to get rolling at some point.
Diaz almost Wave dash and a fake like he's going to go leave the net, but does stick around as he looks to be a pest. He wants to take the ball and bring it to his own back corner. Chronic's going to help him out, but he's not going to be able to pick up the 100. So instead, he tries to pass to himself off the back wall. Chronic is flopping around. Diaz didn't get the pace he needs as Chronic has to go up. Otherwise, Diaz will make a play on this ball. So finds himself in control again in the orange half. Chronic turns to Shadow, and it's just going to be a heavy touch from Diaz.
Yeah, he's got options in the follow-up there. Chronic had to run away from the ball, be safe from the demo. But Diaz, he's not just there dribbling off his backboard every time. He wants to go direct sometimes, keep Chronic on edge. Make sure that he has to worry about retreating as a priority whenever Diaz is in defense. Oh, big cut in field. Diaz in the reverse challenge position. Nowhere near Chronic. Saw that one a mile away, and he puts himself ahead again.
Yeah, Chronic. I mean, Diaz, he was nowhere around when he went for this half flip. But every other time he's gone for a challenge like that, it seemed to pay out. Maybe he's trying to read to the future, expecting Chronic to bring him the ball. But he's down. He's down as we get a little bit later in a game. It's time to actually start thinking about maybe him dropping it as he's deciding whether or not to stick with this ball. He will leave as he was on 0 boost. Chronic trying to catch him out with a power shot, but Diaz collects it, controls it. Didn't get the best first touch in the corner, so if he wanted an air dribble, he's not going to get it. He's going to have to go to the ground and make a play happen from there. A little bit too forward in order to get a real movement on the ball before Chronic makes a save, but here is the back corner barrier of a different variety. Diaz just wants to get some offense, and that's where he feels best about getting offense as he goes stealing height, the length of the field, the roll.
Oh, that's a huge save. Diaz thought that he could get one more touch on the ball to put it over Chronic. He was hoping Chronic would be over covering on the reset angle. Chronic pulled some power off of that shot. He was worried about missing it, getting hit on the counter attack. Maybe he should have fired as he's now in a bit of trouble. But great defense again. He's going to be first to this one. Open net. Chronic ahead by 2. What a response to one of the most one-sided game ones we've seen. Chronic has completely turned this one around and has been the defense, stopping the dribbles, stopping the air dribbles. Put Diaz in a whole different level of pressure.
Still getting outshot by Diaz, but been able to make some saves. A nice demo. He should be able to walk this one in. And in fact, Diaz is now trying to get Chronic to not score by calling that. What respect. Chronic just ruined his stats, man. He could have had one more goal there.
Yeah, he could have. As Diaz didn't fancy it. He's already forfeited this.
That Chronic can't even touch the ball like he did in game number 1. So game 3 is a new, fresh one here. Diaz is going to win the first kickoff and is going to try and stay on offense despite not having any boost. Now he will leave and allow Chronic the possession.
Yeah, he couldn't do much with that one, even though he had the first chance. Chronic with a flip reset and doesn't get behind the ball enough. Diaz with a solid challenge makes it 1-0. Chronic didn't have the confidence to pull the trigger after landing the reset here. It didn't look perfect. He was hoping Diaz would give him more respect than he did.
Diaz is ready to defend against those resets. He knows how they work. Nobody knows any better than him. As Diaz is going to try and get a touch. I think he would have, if he wanted to air dribble, needed a touch farther away from the net. But he touches it towards the net, allows Chronic to make a somewhat easy save, and the counterattack will be Chronic's.
Well, this was something that worked really well for Diaz in game 1, just taking shots from the wall. Chronic was a little bit too focused on defending against air dribbles. He was making beelines to the ceiling pre-jumps, but now Chronic is just staying grounded on these challenges. He's not going all the way up the wall to try and preemptively get in position to defend against Diaz aerial plays. Diaz has to actually make some. Oh, that's good flick. Well, didn't have a lot of boost there, didn't need it. Diaz 2-1 as another kickoff goes his way.
He's been efficient in the midfield, especially in his game 1 win. It wasn't just the air dribbles. It was every single touch was controlled and exactly what he needed. He's going to cradle that ball into a flick. And now headed to a diagonal kickoff. This one into Chronic's half. Diaz going to try and place it perfectly. Bit high. Has a follow-up. Soft touch to try and lob it right into the top shelf. Chronic is able to save it because it's a bit slow. And Diaz resets again. This time going to dribble from the ground. Chronic pre-jump. Diaz trying to go over the top of it and maybe 50, but Chronic expertly takes it away.
Oh, that's actually going in. Chronic's actually, he's managed to score this with a little bit of help from Diaz. Diaz is trying to flip into Chronic and make him lose control, but Chronic just got the shot off in time and ties the game 2-2. He's doing such a good job against Diaz's aerial game. This is by far the best defense we've seen at any point in this tournament.
Yeah, Diaz is out of free play. He's in a match now, so can he handle the adversity? As he wants to set one up the sidewall, Chronic tried to stop him, but actually gave him a pretty good pop and put himself on the sidewall. Might have a tough time defending as he chain dashes his way to the ceiling, but fakes the ceiling, goes to the back wall. Diaz has the reset, gets a bump, and should be able to get around this to get the finish.
Wow, well, Diaz might have gotten a bit lucky there. It looked like he was trying to flip reset and lob the ball, but the follow-through just bumps Chronic miles away from the goal. Even on the second look there, I'm not sure that's what Diaz was trying to do. It looked like he's going for a flip reset lob, but you never know. You do put yourself in front of the ball when you go for that shot, so it can happen as it did.
Yeah, probably just slow down. Sometimes just throwing the change up and popping it high, slowing it down can get defenders to miss. Or sometimes you get lucky and also bump into them, as Diaz is going to try and dunk at the midfield. He's got 31 boosts, so maybe he's just pretending like he can go for this air dribble. He'd rather take it to the ground. A strong flick, but too high, and now has to try and survive. Chronic's going to demo him, and I don't expect a respawn save as Chronic ties the game.
Great play by Chronic again. He just knew the flick was into the bar and makes a beeline for Diaz. Diaz needs to be careful in this match. You know, that was a 31 boost position. We're usually crediting him for having boost left to recover with. That time he was pretty all in. The kickoffs are doing work for him at the moment. He hits the post with a full volley, and that gives him some space to work with off the wall from the midfield. Diaz, late reset attempt here. Actually just going for that last touch. I want to see resets from him, as you can probably tell by my commentary, but he's not going for them, and Chronic is making him look a little bit normal compared to usual.
Yeah, Diaz going for the power shot, and he took the check down to see if he's got it, and he does. These have actually been working for him. I was actually going to point out how different he plays from First Killer, as Diaz, I just watched the last First Killer game, commentated it. You could tell First Killer wanted to play every single touch so fast. Diaz almost seems like he's wanting to play in slow-mo. Even when he gets an open net, he kind of just rolls into it and gets a kind of softer power shot. He is such a slow, controlled player in the air, but one of the things he does best is reads defenses after getting the reset. Right now, he's just trying to do it all with rolls. He does have a lead at halfway against Chronic in a pass. He's trying to pass to himself off the back wall, and Chronic's going to allow him to. Taps it over to him. He wanted the boost deal. It doesn't spawn for him, so it'll have to be a zero boost play, but he's got Chronic awkward. So a chance to pick up the opposite 100. Chronic will send it to the orange back wall, as Diaz is now going to take it to his other corner. He wants a big dribble. I don't think he's trying to waste time. I think he just likes his air dribbles, and he's going to start this one at ceiling height. Still no reset for him. It's just going to roll through. This is what he's sticking with. Yeah,
he's sticking with these just vanilla air dribbles. Chronic's missed the wall shot. That was technically open on that side of the goal. Diaz slightly out of position there. Yeah, he's not going for flip resets at the moment. I don't think it's a purely strategical choice. I think he might just not be fully comfortable committing to that against Chronic. He scores again to make it 5-3, and that's again just from a midfield outplay. Just beats Chronic to the punch. You know, is Diaz starting to lose some confidence in his usually perfect aerial control? You'd expect to see far more flip resets than we're seeing.
Yeah, these players are too good, even in North America, especially at the LAN, for Diaz to not play his strongest, weapon, as he's going to trade demos here. Probably favors Chronic as the ball's rolling around in his half, although he's going to have an awkward time picking up the 100. It allows Diaz to get all the way there. Diaz thinks he has a good challenge. Chronic dunks it over the top of him and will shoot on an open net.
Good finish. Chronic back within a goal here. And if you thought this was going to be a one-sided series, then pay attention. Lock in, because Chronic is playing such a good series against Diaz. One of the best I've ever seen him play against Diaz, to be honest. And it's all coming from the denials on Diaz air dribble plays. Oh, Diaz with a huge mistake. What's that? He just totally misses the ball.
You can see the lean back. He's getting a drink of water, trying to reset here a little bit. This is just such a rarity for Diaz. It's just a miss. It's just a miss through and through, but it's a huge miss with the last minute of the game approaching, having a lead, and being able to control the pace of the game, force defenders into bad challenges. It's really nice, and that's why Diaz is going to get a kickoff goal so that he can do just that.
Well, that is going to be a relief for Diaz. Chronic was really on the side of the ball there. Diaz goal side crushes him. You know, you might wonder, why does that happen? Sometimes one player just so side onto the ball, they're kind of asking for it, right? Well, you know, it's almost like rock, paper, scissors. That kickoff that Chronic went for would beat other ones, but gets destroyed by the one that Diaz has chosen. It looks like Diaz is going to be putting more pressure on Chronic. Chronic being forced to make multiple saves. Can Diaz avoid another misplay like the one he just made? Can he make it to cross the finish line? He's still in offense here, still in a crushing position. And there's a 2-goal advantage.
A safe one as well. He ends this with like 30 boosts left over, pushes the ball in. He knows Chronic is going in and out, but he just has faith in himself to muscle it through. Chronic slightly jumping off the underside of the net, and he really couldn't afford to do that with it top shelf. He almost had to drive through if he wanted to make a save. Just that little gap is enough for Diaz, and a kickoff is going to go back into his half, but in his favor. And it seems like he's going to make Chronic come get it.
Is he dribbling it back here?
I'm not going to take this ball.
Is he dribbling?
Unless you challenge.
I thought he was waiting for Chronic to pre-jump backwards, then just dribble the ball back. Instead, he's taking it all the way down the pitch, and then he dribbles it back. And Chronic's not even going to bother chasing him. It's fair enough. The back corner play will secure it. And there, finally, we do see the reset from Diaz once he's already won the game. 2-1. He's being made to work. We'll see if he can pull any out in this game, but credit to Chronic. He's pre-jumping extremely well right now, and he needs to. He had 12 saves last game, by the way.
Wow. He's finding the sweet spot that no other defender against Diaz can find to be able to cover every single option as Diaz tries to score first here, swinging through for a demo. Chronic won't let him do that, so he'll get back on the other side of the ball. Bit of a weak air dribble from him. Diaz wants to pinch it away. Force Chronic onto the back wall, and he's chasing him down here. He's trying to make him feel the pressure of him hanging out around the net. Pop this one up to himself, gets the midfield 100 perfectly, gets a flip into a catch. Will have a reset now, but he's not going to be able to put it on target, and he's not going to be able to snag the other boost either, which is going to be the big deal.
And Chronic just testing Diaz, just playing a simple shot over his head, and after Diaz blunder at the end of the last game, I think that's a smart move for Chronic. Diaz lost his ball carry, still able to roll it into Chronic and make things awkward for him. Chronic taking a bit too long going back to his net. Left the top shelf open.
Yeah, it took almost a full minute to get this first goal. Slowing down here between these two. Diaz eventually finding his way through. Kickoffs in these low-scoring games become monumental as there's first possessions to win.
Wow.
Or maybe they make them not low-possession games, because if you're going to be scoring like this, it's going to run up.
Yeah, Chronic, he kind of went for a semi-delayed kickoff on the diagonal here, which is really, really vulnerable to Diaz if he goes off that near wall. So Diaz is now looking at this kickoff, probably thinking, well, you know, there's plenty of opportunities here. Chronic is... He's conceding some kickoff goals every now and then. It's going to give Diaz so much confidence in these close games.
Resets near the corner. Diaz finding a way to make something out of that. That is so tough to do when you don't have a lot of space between the defender, but Diaz is throwing in the ever so random complete miss challenge and just giving freebies to Chronic.
Yeah, big time miss there by Diaz. Chronic was out of, oh well, not out of boost, but you said he was in a lower boost total, and Diaz is trying to keep the ball over his head. And now Chronic has a chance to tie the game with a kickoff possession play. Catches it, flicks it. Diaz, perfect positioning, gets in the way.
Yeah, able to get to the back corner boost first. Chronic's the one falling in net at the end of the result of these plays. You never want to be the one who has to recover from inside. If you can keep yourself out, usually the play will be an advantage of you. Diaz may be trying to hope that goes too high for Chronic, but he was ready for it. As he will send Diaz to the back wall. He's going to bounce one towards his net because he knows Chronic is not there to shoot. And now Chronic is trying to catch back up. A little read off the bump in order to tap this one away, but it is still in Diaz's control. Chronic has no choice to kind of continue to dive because it's a big boost advantage for Diaz. He's waiting for his chance, and now here is his specialty, the back wall dribble. He does have the reset this time. Staring at Chronic, the way they're spinning. Chronic still makes the save.
The Chronic is resisting once again, trying to put himself in the conversation alongside Rawast for the best goalkeeper we've seen this weekend. And he is racking up the saves to a crazy number. There's that same idea again by Diaz, but this one's going to work out. It sticks around in the middle. And if he can't get it past Chronic on the first try, at least he could force a bad save.
Yeah, it's a big nod to Chronic from what we've seen so far. The fact that he hasn't been given these opportunities. You know, he's trying to cover everything. Getting the save is one thing. Diaz can often follow them up, and for the most part, Chronic has been able to end possessions. This time it doesn't work out as he slams one onto the side wall, and now another kickoff in favor of Diaz, who will roll up into a 50 as he gets the reset this time. They'll land right next to each other. Chronic has yet another save and does a great job rotating his car to get this into the corner, but a great little dash recovery from Chronic. How is he keeping these out?
The flip resets the defense for Chronic. The wall dash is the defense, and now the demo as he transitions. The net is open, and he slots it. Chronic is putting up a defensive masterclass. He's somehow surviving the Diaz onslaughts.
Getting the counterattack as well. He has kept Diaz to only 3 goals on 9 shots. 6 saves again for Chronic. Doesn't seem like it will work in the long run to just let Diaz go after you over and over again. We saw in the MENA final a similar matchup. You pointed out, you know, Chronic and Rawas. Well, Rawas ultimately came out not the better of Nupo in that best of 7. So nice pre-flip redirect here to stop this shot, as Chronic not going to be allowed to fall down off the side or the back wall easy, but Diaz dives again and it'll be Chronic goal.
Well, Diaz, he knew Chronic was lacking in momentum in this position. He knew that Chronic was probably on lower boost, but he underestimated Chronic's ability to just get to the ball before he did. 3-3. This is fascinating after such a one-sided game 1 to see Diaz push to the limit like this. Chronic is in a bit of a tough position here. Saves it into his back corner, jumps over the demo blindly, and then almost scores with a redirect. But here's Diaz off his own backboard. The ball did graze the ceiling a little bit. That's going to force him to use more boost in this air dribble. No problem for him, but the boost wasn't there to be stolen. It's going to spawn for Chronic.
Diaz trying to close that distance again. We've seen a dunk not work from him in this position, but he's had such good movement in the corner. He's not going to try and shoot this one. Instead, go for starvation. Backflip clean. He's going to half flip land, put one on target. Top shelf Chronic, another save, but every save costs him a boost. He's not going to need much to get the counterattack.
Chronic looking like prime Rawas out there. This is ridiculous. Yet another save. Smooth landing. And a win on the race to the second ball. Diaz thought he had Chronic on the ropes. Chronic comes flying out of the net and makes it 4-3.
Chronic has essentially delayed this game in the early minutes as Diaz just throwing shot after shot after shot. He was able to keep it from getting too far out of hand. And now he's done what he needs to on offense, although he's doing it out of defense still. It's going to be 30 seconds as Diaz tries to chase Chronic down. He'll pop this one up into the corner as Chronic trying to decide if he's going to stick around or allow Diaz to get his dribble going. The way he's defending against it, I don't blame him for just going back and electing to play a little bit of shadow defense. Diaz will grab the under boost. This might be available. Chronic, quick recovery. I need to learn my lesson. He has not been leaving the net open, but he's going to be in a tough spot. 10 seconds left to go. Chronic on the back wall. Diaz should go high to try and beat him, but Chronic makes the save. It's still boost starvation. Diaz once again has to score on this air dribble. The ball cannot hit the ground. Has to reset. Went down and caught it. Trying to get around.
No way.
Oh my goodness, what a read.
What a play by Diaz. Had the flip reset, wave dashes to catch the ball, and then the air roll shot to lob it over Chronic and under the bar. With no time remaining, into overtime we go.
Chronic had his head in his hands. Diaz, it was a great adjustment based on the way Chronic has been defending. He's been pre-jumping like crazy on all those dribbles. Diaz decides, maybe I just don't even shoot it. Maybe I just go to the ground and wait and shoot it later, because Chronic has been getting up so early, and it pays off. He brings it out in the exact moment he needed to. And now he's going to switch the field as Chronic leaves the play and allows Diaz to get something going. It's going to be a bounce dribble. He's staring at Chronic on the other side of the ball. It's classic 1v1. His flick does get denied. Diaz is around, though. They're both playing chicken. Who's going to go for the ball? It's going to fall into Diaz's hands. He wants to bump. He gets it. Chronic up. It doesn't matter.
Oh, and Chronic is just full of emotions after that when he throws his hands up in the air, because he'll probably know that that was his ball to play. But he just didn't want to go for it. Easily be tied 2-2 here if it wasn't for brilliance from Diaz in the clutch. But the other players, you know, Evo first killer, if they're watching this, they're probably thinking, okay, Diaz doesn't look 100% today. He looks a little bit nervous. He's making some mistakes. And that bodes well for Evo first killer, whoever plays against Diaz, should he make the grand final. Now, he has to beat Chronic first. One more time.
Diaz A rare first touch on his dribble that is not on target, so Chronic doesn't really get too worried. He knows he's going to have to use his split to get it anywhere near the net. Kind of similar to what Chronic just did. An air dribble that is off to the left side of the wall. Diaz waits and gets ready for the flip and is able to stop it. We'll stay tied at 0-0 as these two guys send shots back and forth.
Chronic brings it down. He actually tries to bait Diaz into pre-jumping into a challenge too high. Just rolled the ball at him, but Diaz did not commit on that occasion. Oh, he's flipped out of the way though. That's open. Chronic takes the open net gladly. As Diaz just flipped the wrong way. I don't know if he was planning on getting a slight touch on the ball right there. He probably was, but it's made to look a bit silly there by Chronic's shot.
Yeah, I think he's hoping maybe in that moment as he flips, the ball is directly over the back of his car. If it is, then maybe he pops it up while he goes to pick up boost, but that's not what happened. Kick off his favorites. He stares down Chronic. He's going to take it to the side wall. He loves himself a good wall to air dribble. Has himself a reset. Chronic is staying moving in net, trying to be something that's hard to read, and Diaz waits it out, allows Chronic to challenge, and Chronic will follow it for the second goal.
Once again, Chronic able to counter. Diaz overextension. Solid challenge by Chronic, straight through the middle of the ball. Makes it 2-0. You know, we've seen this before. We saw it between the MENA grand finalists as well. How hard it could be to win that 5th game when you're already on match point. To win game 6, it's difficult, and it's very possible that Chronic can use this position Diaz is in to his advantage.
Diaz trying to get some offense, didn't get the cleanest recovery, and that might actually result in a Chronic goal because he's not going to be able to get back. Chronic has been snappier. Again, we see another goal that starts on the back wall of Chronic. The whole game has been played over here on this blue half. Just a question of whether or not Chronic has been able to escape and shoot at open nets. It is 3 saves, triple the saves for Chronic so far, just barely into the game. And you know, it's not, that's been the case even when Diaz has been winning. It's just been way more shots for Diaz. Nice read for Chronic, but he puts it a bit too far. He was trying to get it around the defender. And now Diaz really go back the other way. He loves these dribbles at stealing height that are so tough to do. A roll through the ball. This is not his best setup, but even then he's still maybe able to keep it away. Didn't pick up the back corner, so he'll have to leave.
Yeah, that was wayward by Diaz. He didn't have the first touch in the direction he wanted. He's got to be careful here. Chronic threatening bumps, threatening continuation, more touches on the ball. Chronic's looking extremely good. You know, after a tough loss there, his experience is showing through. He knows that there's no point feeling sorry for yourself. That's not going to help you win the next game. He just gets right back to it. He's in a bit of trouble here, though. Diaz scores his first of the game as Chronic gives him too much space and too much of the goal to aim at.
Yeah, just double jump setup. This bounce is so tough to read. There's so many different places that Diaz can put it. Chronic starts to recognize that his only way out of this is to go challenge the ball, but as he does, Diaz will sneak it in behind him. Diaz really has a ton of time. Sure, 3 straight for Chronic. That's nothing here in 1v1 as Diaz will get a corner boost steal. Can he convert this to a goal? He tried to flip out to the ball. Chronic might have a shot. Lands back down to redirect it, but a bit of a dangerous play there from Diaz. He's now going to try and beat Chronic to the ball, but Chronic is way ahead. Has a catch. Can he get the angle? He does!
One shot by Chronic as he gets up way too fast for Diaz. Centers it to himself with a deft of touches and a finish to match it. 3-goal gap opens up again as Diaz struggles to close out the series in 5. Chronic is playing, you know, probably his best game we've seen so far. He's been confident. He's been aggressive, even though it's his tournament life on the line.
He's in control again. He's going to try and accelerate this out past Diaz. Diaz makes a save, gets a demo, but does not get the boost. Diaz doesn't mind. He'll go to the other side wall like he always does and take to the skies yet again. I like this first touch a little bit better than some of his previous ones. He's going to go for the flick. That sends it down to the ground. He gets Chronic to get into the net, which is huge because otherwise he might have been looking at a counterattack.
Yeah, that's good stuff from Diaz. Mechanically, not the execution on the finishing touch he wanted, but still, it's good to see him pulling out those shots that we expect to see from him. The shots that he's always had as part of his offensive arsenal whenever he is peaking, whenever he's winning against some of the best in the world. Here he comes again. Later reset this time. Uses it early. Can't get the dunk. Gets Chronic on the counter for 5-1.
Chronic's defense has been the difference, and Diaz is in the call next. This is more than enough time to make up 4 goals, but it just goes to show the mental battle that Chronic is winning and how Diaz feels like he can just not break through. See if Neo Tokyo can change anything. Sometimes early forfeits, they end up working out, but it'll be one that'll be a head scratcher if it doesn't here in game number 6.
I'd be very surprised even if Chronic's ahead with a similar scoreline with over a minute left in this game. I'd be very surprised if Diaz forfeits with that similar scoreline again. You've got to put pressure on Chronic here. You've got to make him defend. Defending in Rocket League is so stressful, and Chronic in this situation can't defend well enough to stop Diaz from scoring. And just think about it, even if Diaz didn't come back in the last game, you could have forced Chronic to make another 5 world-class saves. Just more stress and more exhaustion on the defender, in my opinion.
And that was the first game that Chronic, I think, I haven't watched really close, I'm just pretty sure, that he outshot him. He had more shots than Diaz did. And I bet if Diaz plays out the few minutes, it's going to end up looking like it did before. Sure, Chronic has a few more saves, he gets a couple more goals, but at least he's forcing Chronic to play on the back foot like he has been all series. But instead, he's into a new game. He's got to lead, and he's got to read for the first time in a while on Chronic.
Oh, Chronic tried to make a move early defensively. Diaz just hits him with the reset from up top. Down into the net. Had a little double in the goal line just for good measure, but Chronic for once was not challenging from goal side. His pre-jumps have been perfect in this matchup. Oh, he's conceded a kickoff goal as well. Chronic down 3, and now suddenly Diaz early forfeit is starting to look a lot more viable. Chronic's tried to delay some kickoffs here, and they have really not worked even remotely in his favor.
One way Diaz could really shut us up about the timeout is to have another game 1. If he comes out here and just dominates all over again, clearly he knows what he's doing. As Chronic should have won this kickoff, but gets a really heavy touch that might take away some of his opportunities. He's trying to low 50 Diaz into a bad challenge, but Diaz has done enough, and now faking here will grab the midfield 100. Chronic has nothing left, so really no choice but to just boom one on target, hope for a boost steal. He's not going to get it. This ball is floating. Diaz is faking the dribble this time, getting Chronic to pre-jump and going down to the ground. Now an air dribble bump. We haven't seen many from him, but he'll connect on this one.
Okay, that is proof to me that Diaz is definitely not tilted after the early forfeit last game, because this is such a smart play to go to against Chronic in this style he's going for defensively. So much shadowing, so reactive to all of Diaz's moves. He didn't have many angles to escape from the air dribble bump. Well executed one also from Diaz.
Chronic's had the game plan. I don't know how explicitly he thought about it before, but pre-jump to Diaz dribbles. Diaz tried to pre-jump his dribble. This one is going to bounce off the backboard. Both of them low on boost, and it's going to play into Diaz's favor as Diaz picks up the midfield 100 and now going to get back to work. I like this chip off the sidewall better than what I saw from him earlier. Can he get into the top right? He's put it near the net, but Chronic will be able to clear it away.
Diaz trips him up, demos him, and he's got every shot in the entire game available to him. All the options. What's it going to be? It's going to be ground to air dribble. Over the top of Chronic attempted, but Chronic again so easily adjusts and gets that last touch to deflect the ball clear. Look out for the counter down the middle here. Chronic does block that with his presence, steals the ball away. Still scoreless, 2 minutes in. Plenty of time to go for Chronic to work with.
Chronic in a good spot. Diaz has managed to hold on to boost. He's going to perfectly shadow, and
no way.
Drops the ball and hook shots, and it'll be Chronic's first goal.
I love this play from Chronic. Just hiding behind the ball a little bit and showing just how powerful it could be to get alongside the ball, accelerate it to that far post. Not only that, he caught Diaz looking to reverse challenge, it seems. Diaz hit the brakes. He was about to make a move. Just got the timing all wrong. There's a delayed kickoff again by Chronic. These are not working out very well against Diaz, but oh, hold on. He's ball chasing. He sees an opening, and he scores again.
Diaz trying to pop this one out of danger. Thought he did enough, but he's not right. Chronic goes up to meet it and ends up getting himself a goal. Sneaking his way through. He's heading to a kickoff again. Halfway through the game, Diaz got himself a little bit of a lead, but it's not another game 1. Chronic has kept his wits about him and is starting to come back here with a possession in his favor. Heavy touch into the corner means he's just going to back off and allow Diaz to hand it back to him. Wants to go over the top of the pre-jump. Diaz tries to adjust.
Wow.
It hits the post and it's not in, and it'll have to be a reset.
A good boost spawn there for Chronic to steal away. Diaz rips the wall shot. What a finish. That didn't look like he had much time, because Chronic had 100 boost. Diaz had nothing, but he wall dashes twice to gain the speed that would have otherwise been impossible to achieve.
Yeah, you think Chronic has the boost deal. He feels like he's got space and time, but guess what? The wall is boost nowadays in Rocket League. The way these guys throw those dashes, I hop on that wall, I try one dash, I'm flying off. These guys just run along the wall as if it's a boost pad. And now a 5-2 lead. Diaz going into his back corner, but not clearly with enough space because Chronic will demo him and we'll get a touch off the back wall for a third.
Phenomenal read by Chronic. He was so ahead of the play there. Diaz wanted to move the ball across his defensive half like he's been doing all day. Move to the side of the pitch where there's more space. Chronic cuts him off, caught him mid-flip with a demo. So impressed by Chronic in this matchup, even though he's still down in the series. He's still down in this match. He has been such an impressive defender. Such a difficult challenge for Diaz.
Diaz hasn't had boost here for this whole possession. He's finally going to go take a trip to get some. He had elected to just stick around the ball as best he could. Chronic has a reset, but ultimately forced all the way down to the ground. Diaz will challenge, wants a little bump. Chronic gets around it, and now hoping to clear this one out. Diaz is one step ahead. He's got the midfield. He's got the back 100. Chronic wants the opposite corner, and that's where Diaz has been going. So Chronic actually just received a pass from him, although he ends up handing it right back. They pass it back and forth. It'll be a Chronic goal.
Well, Chronic is just reading Diaz's mind as Diaz tries to move the ball into offensive positions. He thought he could fake Chronic out there by pretending to aerial. Chronic just makes a move, and it's a one-goal game. If Chronic can win this, he will have all the momentum going into Game 7.
He's going to get 100 boosts off this kickoff. Diaz picks up a couple pads and then stares down at Chronic to see what he's up to. He's going to get himself bumped into the net. He might still be able to make a save, but he can't get back up in time. Chronic rips the crossbar down.
What a flick by Chronic as he bumps Diaz away. There's still a lot of work to be done. That is technically perfect. 5-5. Chronic comes back from behind. He is impossible to tilt out to this match even after all the pain in Game 4.
He shows that the flicks are not broken in North America. They are there if you hit him right. Diaz fortunate to bob Chronic away as he did not get a touch on the ball. Now he's going to have himself a bit of space. He'll head to the skies where Chronic will pre-jump over the top of him. So far, Chronic has had these reads. This time, it gets over.
I think that's the first time we've seen Diaz simply air dribble over the top of him. A Chronic, yeah, he angled for the reset. Finally, that shot pays off for Diaz. He's been trying it all series. Chronic has read him on every occasion until now.
Turns out Diaz is just saving his mix-ups to win the game in the final moments. He'll stick with his normals all the way until then. Chronic having to try and get rid of this ball off his goal line. He's staying aggressive despite only a couple pads to work with. Diaz is going to flip this ball, or pop it up, I should say, with his flip. As he heads out to the midfield, pass back to himself. Chronic thought about going up in the air, but Diaz much quicker to it on the ceiling. Will send one into the corner. Who's going to take control of this one? Will Diaz dive? Sometimes that can be dangerous. Chronic waiting on the back wall, wants maybe Diaz to leave. Instead, will 50 with him. Diaz, no demo connect as Diaz is able to escape. Chronic,
what a move. He actually gets the ball. Diaz thought Chronic was going for a bump, but Chronic played the ball and he got the equalizer with almost no boost. Actually, no boost left in the tank.
6-6 at 6 seconds left. Diaz was able to clutch it out last time. Are we going to head to Game 7? It's a kickoff that should be in favor of Diaz. He looked like he was expecting to have to box out Chronic. He almost flipped into his half thinking he'd be there, but
no way.
Left. He's going to challenge. He's going to look not an open as it hits the ground because we got overtime here in game number 6.
What a match. What a performance from Chronic to take Diaz into deep water. Can he take him to Game 7? It's Diaz again. He had the last play in regulation, the first play in overtime. Air dribble dunk. Chronic's been knocked backwards, but he still has some boost left over. He's been tripped at the landing. Diaz walks it home. That's game. Diaz will go to the grand final.
Diaz just carries him away. He collects him and says, I don't just dribble Rocket League balls, I also do Rocket League cars. As he takes him out of the play, gets around, and finishes it off. Diaz has been clutch, man. There have been some sweaty moments here against Chronic. It's not going to be easy for him for the rest of this tournament, but so far, he is up to the challenge.
Yeah, what a performance.